All right, welcome to Pass the Mic, Friday, December 19th, 2025, episode 189 after a week off. Mike Gervasi, how are you?
Great to be here. How are you?
I'm good. The week just got away from us, and actually, we are probably doing our earliest recording ever. We're recording
And we've
this.
never done a Sunday for sure.
Yeah,
for
this
sure.
is Sunday the 14th, fresh off the Lions' heartbreaking loss to the Los Angeles referees. I guess only fitting on the day that the Chiefs are knocked out of the playoffs that the new favorite team of the NFL is going to win every game now.
And that's, I assume you mean the Rams.
Oh, I said the referee. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. I don't think the officiating cost that game at all. So that was a little tongue in cheek. As I always say, overcome, and they would have scored from the 1 yard line anyway. So feedback and errors from last week. What do you got for us?
All right, so let's start with Max, who takes a strong issue with my assessment that David Montgomery is a top 15 back, and this is from 2 weeks ago, so he seems to be vindicated in this belief. Although Montgomery did score a touchdown today, I imagine he only had 5 or 6 carries, and
it's just it's so different from last year, and I think part of that is the offensive line. To be fair,
correct. Yes. So he did not agree with me on that. The Ren Dog disagreed was disappointed in me for not blasting him on his NFL picks, but Lord knows we've been wrong about so much.
And just to review, so 2 weeks ago it was Dallas at Detroit, which I think we all picked Detroit because I think I still remember saying road teams on Thursday nights have a tough time, this and that. So we both picked Detroit. I think everyone picked Baltimore, and of course Mike Tomlin, like a cat with 9 lives, wins that game in Baltimore.
Does he still have a job?
He still has a job.
Okay.
It's funny. A Facebook memory popped up today. 10 years ago, I shared a post. So when I was 40 years old, this post is from 10 years ago, and it was like a record that the Steelers had broken with number of coaches over years. And I said, I'm 40 years old, and the Steelers have only had 3 coaches in my entire lifetime. All right. That was a Facebook memory from 10 years ago. Well, guess what? I'm 50 years old, and the Steelers have only had 3 coaches in my entire life. It's
That's
absolutely
crazy.
It
is
insane. For what everyone hates on Tomlin stuff, like it's absolutely crazy that in any circumstance that could be the case in this modern era of sports.
Right.
But back to that, we were all wrong on the Pittsburgh Baltimore. And I think we were all wrong on the Big Ten championship game too. I don't think anyone.
We were.
Indiana. So Ren Dog, don't ever take it personally. We're not here to make any money. We're not here to, and who cares?
Right. Couple more here. Elizabeth Pate, Detective Callahan, works in Chris's department as a medic.
Yeah, I remember Detective Callahan.
So she mentioned that. Chris Pate did not like in fact said, and I quote, "It kind of pissed him off that your cardiologist said people shouldn't shovel after the age of 49."
Hold on. I don't have a cardiologist. First of all, I'm not. Oh, come on now. Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I don't have a cardiologist yet. Maybe I should. Secondly, it was just something I saw online. My doctor, no one told me that. It was something, and it was said over 47 you shouldn't. And I think Elizabeth Pate found that story too. That is one of the things I like to do. I've already shoveled a couple times because the snow so far hasn't even been snowblower worthy. I'm still standing, as Elton John would say.
Yeah. Let me throw a couple more out here for you. Max, again, must be nice for people like you. I assume that's you, Mike, and Elon, who say $3 isn't a big deal. So lumping you and Elon Musk in, if you could only bridge the amount of money he makes versus you.
I don't want to get too. Are times that tough in the Bailey household with $3? Maybe we should have bought tickets in the second bowl at Little Caesars.
So must be, agree. Longevity by SNL makes it underrated. How can a show go for that long? Yeah, and that's Max.
No, that's right. That was a card game. That was a good week. I forgot about that. It's been so long back.
That's right. And you, very disappointing. You posted this on December 5th. You hadn't walked in 3 days. Have you caught up on your walking?
I did it. First of all, Friday was an underrated, beautiful morning. It wasn't that cold. I mean, as for this time of year, because we've been hit hard. Sure. I did not walk Saturday or today because these wind chills came back. But Friday morning, I'm glad I got that in. I have my physical with my regular doctor on Monday. Every 6 months I have to go. I'm sure I'm going to be up weight a little bit just because I haven't ate well and haven't walked as much. But I hit all but 2 days in November. And the good news on the horizon, I don't know if you saw this, could be 50 degrees on Thursday.
Yeah, crazy.
Yep. And we've done this before. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but white Christmas is overrated. I'll be totally fine if it could be 60 degrees on the 25th, and
I would love it. I would
life would
absolutely
be
love a sunny, no snow day. That would be
I
great.
think I've walked on Christmas Day sometimes, and it's been beautiful. We need to get that. December's been rough. It's been a colder. It's definitely, as someone that tries to walk every morning, this has been a bad December,
It
much
has
worse than
been.
last year.
Agree.
So, do
Agree.
you want to give a shout out? We hinted at it. I shared it on the Facebook page, as shown by our Spotify Wrapped, our top episode for 2025.
Adriana Villanueva Sorella.
Yeah, councilwoman.
Councilwoman from Wyandotte, also business owner. That episode, we heard so much about it after the fact. It carried over into the after show where we didn't even, usually we sign off. It's late at night, and we kept talking to her, so that it kind of makes sense that it would. But that was the top rated episode, and it was a chance encounter I had with her at a legislative forum in Wyandotte, or I'm
Yeah.
sorry, in Riverview, with at the Crystal Gardens, and so that the rest is history. So thank you, Adriana, and thank you to all the listeners.
Yeah, a great episode, and congratulations on what turned out to be a great year for her, 2025, moving into her new location and being elected.
Correct. Now, before we go any further, I got to correct myself, and I had the staff look this up as we were speaking. Crystal Gardens is actually in Southgate. I didn't know that. I thought that side of the road
Oh
was
yeah, that's Southgate. Yeah,
Riverview. So my apologies to the good folks in Southgate.
yes, Southgate is that small little area. Don't take anything away from it.
No, Celtic guy, former coach of Southgate Anderson High School basketball.
Southgate, do they have their internet and phones working? I heard they were using tin cans and notepads this week.
Right.
I also heard a rumor. We had the northern downriver districts had a snow day on Wednesday, north of Eureka Road. It looked like Eureka Road was the cut line if you had
That
to
was
make
the
a
cutoff.
judgment call. And my sources tell me that Southgate didn't have a snow day, but didn't have enough kids to show up, so the day doesn't count.
I didn't
That's
know
a
that. Is
bummer. It's a rumor. I'm not saying anything. I don't want to. I'm not. I can't even use the Dr. We can't use the Dr. Rice jokes anymore. He's retired. Yeah, there's a new state superintendent. Dang it, man, we're struggling this week.
struggling? Yeah, for sure.
Congratulations, Dr. Rice. Maybe we'll get him on the episode. Get him on an episode now.
Right. Right.
He'll tell us he wants us to work more days.
I'll knock it off, Crash.
You got a mic of the week?
I do. So I wanted to give a shout out to Indiana football. So I looked into some Indiana famous figures from Indiana because it was tough finding famous mics that played for Indiana, and I found
Okay.
a comedian actor who is in Friday After Next, Mike Epps. Very funny
Okay.
comedian. I know you're not a fan of comedians, and I can't see you watching Friday. Did you see any of the Fridays? The original was good, and the soundtrack was really good. Now, little known fact, the soundtrack itself, comedy movie, it actually created a rift between Cypress Hill and Ice Cube, which really spun out of control. And those two were really good friends, and it got to the point where they were threatening each other. So that's all caused by the soundtrack. So yeah, this is Mike Epps, who was in Friday After Next, not in the original. So yeah, Mike Epps.
Got it. And wait,
just as a shout out to Indiana.
Is he an Indiana alum?
He is not. He's from Indiana.
He's just from the state.
It wasn't very easy finding Mike from Indiana.
You're jumping through a lot of hoops to get here.
Well, there was a lot. I mean, I could have
I know
gone.
a Mike from Indiana. He almost got hung on January 6th.
Mike Pence. Yeah. Oof. Too soon, man.
Too soon?
Too soon.
He's still with us.
He is, fortunately.
Okay. Thankfully.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Well, there you go. So Mike Epps, not an alum, not a Hoosier, but a state Hoosier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Education topic. I'm going to talk about something that this is sort of like the non-glamorous side of education, right?
Totally not correct.
We were working lunch duty together, and we, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think we do a pretty good job in there.
You're like front and center on that stuff. I'm usually kind of sitting back.
Well, this one, I think you sort of jabbed me on the side a little bit and said, what's going on over here?
I did, but I was willing to let it kind of play out. Who knows how it would have played out? But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically we work lunch duty, and 99% of the time it's fine. Mm-hmm. Or I guess 97% of the time it's fine. 2% of the time we got to go tell a kid to clean something up.
Sure.
That they did or did something wrong, or tried to shoot a basket with an apple. Minor minor things. And 1% of the time, there's some conflicts or,
Hmm.
conflicts, I guess is the way to put it. And most things, and I think you'd say that you'd agree with this, most things at school, random crime doesn't happen, right? Random assaults, random, you know what I mean? Like
Yes,
things
yes,
build up. Things build
correct.
up, and then if you let them get to a point, they can explode. So good schools will have a system where you try to get into that point before things explode, right? Like you
Hmm.
want to put fires out when it's just a little spark. So what we want to talk about this week is discipline and that aspect of the job, not just big events, but even like in your classroom or in the library, that sort of thing. Discipline. Just to clear everything up, we'll tell about the story, and then I'll let you take it apart. So we noticed this table; these two students were going back and forth, and they were just sitting down talking, but it was getting more animated, right? And when we both, that's when you sort of, hey, do you see this? And I looked at it. We walked, and this took about 2 to 3 minutes, right? Like
Hmm.
we didn't go running over there.
Correct. Yes.
We didn't get on the microphone and say, everyone under their seats or anything crazy, but we just sort of kept our eyes on it. And then when the one student stood up and started walking towards the other, and just walking towards them, that's when I got up. We both got up and made a movement over there. I remember we got up there, and actually, the one that stood up was actually very calm. We're not going to use any names here. We're going to protect FERPA rights here. The one
Right.
that
Right.
stood up was actually very calm, but you could see he was annoyed with the ranting and complaining that the other student was doing. And I still remember that I got up there and I was pretty calm with it too. I didn't go run up there
Yeah,
and
you weren't. This
grab
wasn't
people and
right. This wasn't
and
your
I'm just like,
angry.
and
Yeah,
actually, I said, hey, I go, calm down. And the gentleman that stood up said, I am calm. And my response to that was, you are. I go,
he's
you are.
not.
I go, the problem is he's not. And now you're
Right.
standing up and walking over to him. And you got up there, and I just took the one that was obviously more upset. I grabbed his lunch. I walked away with him. We talked on the way out. I go, listen, and he dropped like an F this there, not at me, but just to the general
Yeah.
situation. And I said, listen, I go, you don't want this. I go, we got a week till Christmas. Let's just walk away. And he listened to me, right? We walked away. I grabbed his food. I took him to an admin, and that was it. Washed my hands of it. No paperwork, no nothing. And I don't think anything came of it because they were all sitting back together the next day, if I remember.
Well, and the young man I encountered said, "I don't know why you guys came over here. Nothing was happening." I said, "We got a job to do. What would you do if you were us?" He's like, "You're right." And so when he
Yeah.
said
Okay.
that, I was,
So
yeah,
I wanted to get that out because I don't want to start a story and not finish it. But the point of the story is I want to talk to you a little bit about your experiences dealing with discipline, how you go about it, what worries you the most about it. Maybe if you want to share like your best or worst experience with it, and advice to maybe young teachers because this is something that's very difficult. Our principal told a story about a student teacher somewhere. That that first time you're tested with something, it's very nerve wracking. So what do you got?
yeah. I mean, I kind of wrote down a few different stories here, and I sort of just noticed most of these tended to be when I was a lot younger, and as you advance and you get more comfortable in who you are, I think the kids recognize that. Maybe there's a physical aspect of it. Maybe honestly, I'm kind of joking, but kind of not. Maybe the gray hairs sort of give me a little bit of street cred with the kids, so to speak, and they are not going to push issues that they may have when I was younger. Whatever the case may be, there is a lot less that happens now. Even that incident where you and I encountered those kids, when I said to the kid, I said, "We got a job to do. What would you do if you were us?" And he immediately said, "You're right." So, what I find is the majority of the time, the issues now as I've gotten older have been when there's a sub in the classroom. And the sub will leave names. I've had some really interesting ones over the years, up to and including a kid that said, "You know what? I'm not taking this punishment. I didn't do anything wrong." And the sub said, "You know what? He's right. He didn't do anything wrong. I apologize for writing his name down." And so to the kid's credit, he was standing firm on that and he was right. And to the sub's credit, he acknowledged it and said, it was a group of kids, but that kid did not do anything wrong. I just had the wrong person. But as a teacher, you spend a lot of time forging these relationships and you have to accept that sometimes a kid will cross the line and you as the adult have to respond in kind, right? And so life teaches consequences. Teaching and schools, if nothing else, if no other lesson gets taught, is that it's that this has to be a teacher of life in a lot of ways. And so actions have consequences. And as a teacher, you have to accept that you may have created these wonderful relationships, but there's going to come a time where you have to be the disciplinarian in some way, shape, or form. And we're running into it now more and more so with tardies, with kids who for whatever reason, and a lot of times it's not even their fault, are coming to school late. And so all of these things create a challenge for the teacher in a sense that, you've spent all this time building up this capital with these social relationships that build capital with the students, and you have to put yourself in the bad guy's shoes sometimes, and it's not easy, but it is a reality, and I've sort of accepted it. I equated a lot of times. I always come back to this as a basketball coach in the middle school. Sometimes you have to be the first one to tell a kid that you're not good enough, right? And you could be good enough down the road. Sometimes you have to teach that lesson as a teacher, and it's hard, but I've accepted it. I think you have to accept that as a teacher. Young teachers, coming out of college, Mike, I'm sure you had the same feeling. You had this wonderful idea that you knew better than the other teachers as this young person, and you'll know how to reach that kid because you saw Dangerous Minds or something like that. And the reality then sets in that it's a lot different than what you saw in the movies. And so that's kind of the gist of it from my perspective.
You know, I'm just going to say, first of all, and I don't know if we mentioned this on before in the show. I think, and again, I hate throwing these numbers around, but 95% of the time when we get into a situation when there's discipline involved, um, I think that it de-escalates.
Hmm.
That's it might even be higher than that. Like, I always say, I tell people because sometimes we'll have coworkers that, start complaining about the behavior of a kid or whatever. And, we have 1,100 teenagers in here, and even the best kids are going to make bad choices. And it may not be something where they're harming anyone else, or, it could be a cheating thing. It could be plagiarism. There's various types of behavior, right? Like everyone always thinks behaviors are quote unquote bad kids. Kids that are striving, working hard for grades may plagiarize something or,
Sure. Sure.
but it doesn't matter what type of kid it is because they're teenagers. Their frontal lobe isn't developed. They're going to make bad choices. We made bad choices in our teen years, and even men, frontal lobe problem still isn't developed when I'm 50, and I make bad choices now. But the point is, how do you respond to these bad choices, and
Hmm.
how do you react when you're being corrected on them? And that's the first thing I want to say. Working in our district, 95% of the time when a bad choice is made, when I go up to correct somebody about it, the reaction is, yeah, I messed up. You know, I messed up, and it shuts down. It's never, slap my arms down or
Sure.
F you or this or that,
Right.
So I want to make that perfectly clear. So we're very fortunate for that, I think. Is everybody perfect? No. Everybody's not perfect. People are going to make bad choices. That's part of what's going on. I do want to say that I've also gotten better at it. Like you said, you talk about me. There's some days in lunch where whatever happens, I'm calm about it. Kid chucks an apple, I call him over to me, and I'll just be calm. I'm like, why are we doing that? I don't. But there'll be another day, 2 weeks later, it could be a totally different kid, depending on what the week's like, depending how tired I am, and I lose it on that kid, right? And I scream and I embarrass him there in front of the whole lunchroom. Probably not the best way to do it, right? It's funny and everything, but I try to do it as much as possible the second way. And as I'm getting older, I'm doing that more often. When I was younger, I remember I had a kid tell me when they tell you to F off personally, like it's you, or like,
Sure.
you're an a-hole or whatever. That used to get me really angry. And I would then double down on it. Now I laugh at it. I think it's funny. I think that's the funniest thing in the world. Like and it hasn't happened in ages, but the last time it happened, I sort of laughed. I started laughing at it. I can't. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Whereas 25-year-old me would have lost my mind.
Sure.
This kid called me just a blanking beephole.
Right.
Who does
Right.
he think he is? Now at 50, when he does it, I just laugh because like I'm not going to get in trouble, and this kid is. And that's the other thing too. Unless it's an ultimate physical thing, I try never to put my hands on a kid ever.
Of course. Of
You
course.
know what I mean? Now, like in this situation where we had those kids, I think I may have just put my hand on his back, the one that was like getting upset. I'm like, hey, let's calm down. I go, I'll grab your lunch, something like that. But it's just something I try to do in general. And I try to, like I said, like I said, I try not to lose my mind. I know you guys like to see it. I know it's funny in the library. I know
It
you
is
guys like
very
to hear
funny.
like, what class are you guys from? French. We get lost. Line, the lines like that. Something.
Actually, what you said was, according to the story, we get out of here. But same
And
result there.
it depends on the day and this or that. And again, there's no harm there. I'm not like the kid didn't get in trouble. I just threw him out of the library. But that's what I try to do. We are, like I said, I'll scream it from the mountaintops. We are very fortunate where we work that when students are corrected, they often don't. It doesn't escalate beyond that.
Yeah.
And I know that's not the case everywhere.
I am having a hard time thinking in the last 5 years of a time, even in the worst case scenario with a kid that really would give me a hard time where you call them on it in a very rational manner. Like just thinking about when you've called the kids up for throwing apples.
Yeah.
There's no kid has said, I'm going to do what I want to do. It was my
Yeah.
bad. Like, and it's really, from my perspective, it's really difficult to get to escalate with a kid who's acknowledging that they did wrong, and I tell that to kids all the time. When you screw up, really the reaction is going to be much worse than the crime itself. The cover up, so to speak, is going to be worse than the crime. Just acknowledge it. And more often than not, you're going to be fine. You're going to have to pick up the apple and be done with it.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Last week there was another one. I swear this kid shot like 3 times and missed. And I walked up there and I walked up the table. I'm like, can we stop throwing the apples? I go, you've done it 3 times and you missed. And the kid goes, I only did it twice. And I go, I hope your math is better than your basketball because it was 3 times. And then he picked it up and put it in the garbage and the whole table just started laughing at him.
Yeah.
And the guy threw it away. But I mean, if that's the worst challenge that you get, like some kid like
Right.
correcting you, like on that,
Right.
and again, I didn't. He picked it up and threw it away, and that was the end of it. But it's a very hard thing to learn too. Student teaching doesn't really prepare you that well for it because really, student teaching 90% of the time, the cooperating teacher is going to take the reins with that.
Sure.
They're not going to put you in a situation in an extremely dangerous situation where if it's like a fight or that sort of thing, you're not even going to be the ones to focus on that. Let me again, losing your mind and losing it doesn't make it better at all.
No.
It doesn't, being a jerk, embarrassing kids, no matter what they may have done, does not help it. And it sort of helps. And again, being a parent probably helped us with this, right? Because our kids have done stuff,
Sure.
maybe in school, maybe not in school, out of school, home, on sports teams. They've done stuff where we've had to discipline them as a parent. I can imagine it's probably even harder when you don't have that. That was one nice benefit, I think, of having our kids in the district. I never minded that people would be like, when Dave Anderson or somebody at Chapman would reach out to me about Nate, I'm not going to violate FERPA on Nate, but, and just say, hey, this happened. And just to correct it. That's fine.
That has been a challenge, and that is a show we're going to have to do, as been recommended by, it started with
Yes.
Deontay. But
Our
that is a
kids
show.
may not, our kids may not
The
agree
kids
with
might not
that.
agree. Correct. Right. Right.
All right. Anything else you want to add about behavior?
No, I would like to hear from the teachers on the thread how, again, for me, it's really just become so much different as I've gotten older. I don't lose my mind, so to speak, very often. And so when I do, I find that the classes are much more responsive because it happens so infrequently. Whereas a young teacher, you're trying to earn your credibility and all that other stuff. But yeah, I'd like to know what the older, more veteran teachers have to say. And I'd like to know what the younger teachers are saying too. So I don't know. I don't know if we have too many regular young teachers that listen, but I'd like to know their perspective on it.
Here's something I would like, because I got to do it for the first time in a long time a couple weeks ago. I was the acting admin, and it wasn't even planned. I got called in an emergency situation. I think it would be helpful if more teachers did that because when you have, well, like, and I had to and I'm talking about a day where you have to actually do like a full out investigation where there was like a sort of like a minor assault, and having to do that and do the interviewing and the statements and talking to people that were there. Because a lot of times teachers only see the final result and the discipline, and they're sort of like angry with what admin did, or not, or I don't want to say angry, but disappointed. And when I sat and did that whole time and understood why what happened, the teachers that were involved sort of didn't. And I sort of I tried to explain it a little bit because that's the other thing too, right? Teachers complain and they never go and ask what happened most of the time because they're afraid, I guess, or whatever.
Sure.
And when I explained why it happened this way, it made perfect sense. Again, we're definitely not going to get into the case,
Correct.
but
You don't
I
want to
think
give
that
you don't want to give the student's name.
no, but I just think that being able to do that, because I would never want to be an assistant principal. I just wouldn't. I mean,
No,
it's fine just to
agree.
do it as a visiting thing here or there. I can handle it, but no way. Good congratulations to all of those people, especially middle school and up.
Yeah.
All right, overrated, underrated. 'Tis the season. It's for holiday pop-ups. This is like a big thing now. Back when we were growing up, basically your house was like decorated, right? And other people in the sub, and you might go, we'll go take for a ride around your car or whatever. Well, now everything's a holiday pop-up. Holiday pop-ups at bars, light shows, whole city streets. Everything is a holiday pop-up. The nursery had a pop-up. My wife and Nate took the dog to go get pictures at Rulig's with pop-ups of sleighs and whatever. I don't know, all kinds of stuff. So what do you got as overrated holiday pop-up? Any
So
sort of thing like that.
it took me a little while to think about this, and I had two, and my second one's going to actually be tied to my underrated. So my overrated is going to be, I'm going a different direction. a little bit, just so I can mention this one. Then I'll get to my other one when I get to underrated. But my overrated is Christmas sweaters. I find them to be
Oh, okay.
annoying. I don't like wearing them personally. Why do we want to dress uncomfortably for some silly reason because other people look uncomfortable and you're all looking uncomfortable like you're wearing something you don't want to wear. I just don't get it. I'm sure that I'm going to be called a
I hate
fun
all
sucker for
sweaters, to be
this.
honest.
Yeah, I'm
I hate
not a
them. I hate regular sweaters.
I'm not a I'm not opposed to some regular sweaters. I don't like those specific types that are tight and all that stuff. But to me, Christmas sweaters overrated. I don't understand why we have to do it. Nobody likes them anyway. So that's my.
I like
They're
that.
they're they're called ugly for a reason. Like, why are we wearing ugly clothes with pride?
Now, I liked it was a couple of years ago. The administrators got us the crew sweatshirts that had a holiday theme to it. I like that because I like sweatshirts and hoodies and that sort of thing. And
Yeah,
I'm
a
in
lot
my
of people
bum.
like them too. That's not an ugly sweater. Let's
I
stay
know, but
focused
it's
here,
still
Mike.
like a holiday theme because
I get
you
it.
can
I get
still
it.
wear it. It's in a sweatshirt thing. My overrated, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before with another thing, but I'm going to. I saw someone write about it. I did it like once or twice years ago with the kids and with Elisa when we were dating because man, it's the Wayne County Light Fest out there in Hines Park. To me, it is a nightmare to get to, a nightmare to get in, and it's really not that great. Like I think you're better off just driving around Rockwood here and driving by people's houses, and you'll see just as good things. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like but people go all the time, man. They go and they wait in that long line to get there. It gotta get all the way around, and people are cutting traffic. That way overrated. There's way better things to look at. In all honesty, what people do on their own houses now are great. Take a ride there. That's my overrated.
Okay. Well, that it's funny you mentioned that because that's going to lead to my underrated. I find I was leaning this on overrated, the rat race, so to speak, of trying to have the best house, and
Oh yeah,
just I find that to be a little irritating. People put in all this work for a month
or hire people.
or hire people, which to me, again, I'm not going to tell anybody to do with their money. I'm sure people wouldn't agree with what I do with my money. I just find that to be it's not for me.
Hmm.
So that was kind of the direction I was going. So my underrated Kristen called them lazy lights. I think they're pretty cool. I love the projection lights. I love the
Oh yeah,
bouncing Santa, or
yeah.
so I think they're really neat. They're a lot less
Stick it
work.
in the grass.
Yeah, and you're done. So that's my underrated. I think they're pretty cool, and I like the look of them. Not just because I'm lazy. I think they look pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why I don't even do anything outside anymore though. I'm so late. Once the kids moved out, that's it. I was done.
Yeah,
I don't even.
yeah.
That's why I'm totally lazy, I guess. And I had those things. I'd throw some net lights on my bushes, and now I don't even want to do it. My underrated. I like anything that's a lot smaller than like the Wayne County Light Fest or something where there's not huge crowds. Although the thing downtown Detroit is nice, I'll give it that. If you pick the right time to go, like Campus March is right,
Yeah,
like with the pop up
absolutely.
down there.
I
I
do
think
like
it's
that. It's
nice.
really
I wouldn't
cool.
go
I think
down.
it's
I
really
wouldn't go
cool.
down there for like the day they're lighting it up, or maybe I wouldn't do it Christmas night. But you can go like any time between now and I think we even went like after the holiday, so that's nice. But what I'm saying is even better is like just local bars around town decorate. And you can go and they have like special drinks. Like I know even like West Jeff Bar and Grill is. There's places in Wyandotte that do it. And again, we're not talking about like everyone and their brother being there. We're not talking about a line of cars. We're not talking about paying $40 or $20 to park. With my Elon Musk money. Uh, we're talking just small little places where, oh, this is festive. You can go do it. And like, I think that's pretty cool that these little places realize, hey, and I think it's because like, you look at it like, hey, how can we make a little extra money during the holidays? Everything's about marketing now.
Yeah.
And that, something little like that, you can jack up the price of your drink a little bit and do that sort of thing. So I think to me, that's cool. Like when little places do things like that. And again, I just don't have to worry about being surrounded by hundreds of people and I can still enjoy the holiday. So
Okay.
small Christmas bar pop ups, I guess.
All right. I can get with that.
All right. Hot mic take. What do you got this week?
All right, so I'm keeping this week light. It's getting colder outside, and I'm noticing more and more that I am having issues with my lips being chapped, which led me down the path of realizing that, and I wonder if anybody else has this issue. I have probably bought in the last 5 years no less than 100 little things of chapstick, and I can never find them when I need them. So my question to the listener, do you have any products like that? Are you like me with chapstick? I can find them in the summer when I don't need them at all, but as the weather gets cooler and now it's downright freezing and windy and everything else, I cannot ever find a chapstick when I need it. And so it frustrates me. So that's my hot mic. I want to know what the listener has that's a similar thing to that, or if it's that
Like the things they just lose or
that
can't find anywhere.
something you can't find when you need it. You could find it when you don't. And for me, it's chapstick.
Right. My hot mic take, I have a loaner car right now, which is always like exciting, right? Like you get something that's not normally yours. And so I got a 20, it must be, yeah, 25 GMC. Oh my God, now I'm going to blank on what it is. It's not the full Acadia. It's smaller. I don't even know. GMC Terrain. I
That
think that's
sounds
what it
right.
is. Yeah, it's a small little SUV. Got about 500 miles on it when I got in there. First of all, everything is digital. Speedometer. It's like the first car I've ever had where everything is a screen in front of me, the big old screen here. I was driving it, and now my Blazer that's in the shop has like a sensor. Like if you're driving in front of me, Mike, and you put your brakes on, and I haven't braked yet at all, but I get this red light that flashes and beeps. All right, and it basically says, "Hey, wake up, idiot! This guy's stopping."
Right, right.
All right, so I had that. This GMC version, this newer version, has that, but in addition to that, my seat vibrates
Hmm,
very like I'm talking about, and if I start drifting over in a lane a little bit, same thing. Seat vibrates. The stuff that keeps going into these cars to me is just simply amazing. Like, and again, I've asked my
sure.
buddy Carlo, who's an engineer. I keep wondering how many years away are we from that we're not even driving like that. And I know there are already cars out there that are doing this or have functions of it, right? Like the Teslas have like some package, right? Like, but it's got to be in the books, right? Don't
You would think, but, like, where you told me about this conversation though.
you know?
Right.
Side information from GM. I hope I'm not spoiling anything.
Sure. I
Carlo
found
says
that
not 10
I
years.
thought that was really interesting that he said that.
I thought for sure he'd say yes, like 10 years, like you'll
Right.
just get in and push. Also, these transmissions are all electric now, right? So you really don't need a shifter in them. Everything's electric. That's why you have like the push button ones, right? A dial. What do you
Hmm.
have in your car? You have a dial, right?
Yes.
You have the
Yes.
dial. So they're not, you don't, any of these cars now, even like the stick, it's sort of just there because that's the way it was, right? Like it used to be, well, this car had like it was a stalk on the, where your turn signal is. And like you pull it and you push it this way to go in reverse and pull it and push it this way to go and drive. And then there's a button on the end of it to put it in park. But again, like I don't know. I keep wondering like when am I buying my last car and when will I just have one that I like open up an app, push a button, and like a robot car picks me up and takes me to where I want to go.
And again, I know we've talked. Does that scare you at all to think about that though?
No, I can't wait till I don't have to like pay for car insurance anymore. I told Carlo my envision, and they're like, "Oh, you mean like Uber?" No, I don't mean like Uber. I mean that we get to a point in the world where you are not taking out loans or paying for something that sits in a garage for 85% of the year, right?
Yeah.
Like when you think about it, right? Like you pay this huge note, you pay car insurance, and where's your car most of the day? The loaner I had today, I didn't drive it at all. I didn't leave the only time I took, ironically, the only trip I left the house with my car today, I took my wife's Buick up to Conway Auto Supply, Conway Auto Repair to have it fixed tomorrow. Did the drop off. That's it. That's the only place I went. Nate picked me up and drove me home. Like
Yeah.
I want to do a thing where you have an app. Okay, you don't even buy a car, you don't lease a car, you don't have auto insurance. You just have this system where these cars are just out there automated. I'm like, beep. Monday morning, I hit this thing on. It picks me up. It's like a month. It's like a membership, like anything else, like your HBO Max or whatever, and it drives me to work, leaves work. There's no cars in the parking lot. I work all day. I hit it at the end of the day, and it takes me home. Or if I need to stop somewhere else, you know what I mean? Like, and whatever it is a month, well, you figure out what your car payment is, when you figure out what your insurance is, you figure out what your repairs are. What would be a good subscription price? I don't know. Someone figure it out.
It's a great question. I like the idea, Mike. I think it's a good
Maybe we
idea.
should. And I told Carlo this. I'm like, well, maybe I can be the next Elon Musk and we can develop this. And he shot me down. So now someone's going to steal this.
What 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 did Carlo say? Kind of like the beach. Was that what Kramer's
Oh, the cologne.
Kramer's cologne
He
the
said, don't you
beach?
mean like Uber? I'm like, no, it's not like Uber. I'm not talking about like a one-time ride because I've had too many Diet Pepsis
No,
at the
this is
Pistons game.
your yes, I get it.
This is like this is how you will no longer own a car. What I
I
should do, I think in 2026, I'm going to log every minute I drive.
hmm. Are you really gonna do that?
No, But I think it'd be an interesting study to see like how many minutes I drive in a car that I lease or that the one I'm paying the payment on.
Let's put that challenge out to listeners. So, listener, you have two jobs this week. Number one, find something that you can never find when you need it. Number two, log your hours
Log
driving.
your drive. Here's the problem: we don't live in a very good public transportation state. But if
We
my
do
system
not.
is created that it's just these whatever cars are just driving around and you just sort of flag them down. Like, I mean, hey, if I end up dead in the next week or so, blame it on the
Oh
Fords.
boy. Yep.
I'll be like
Conspiracy
Hoffa.
theorists. Yeah, right.
Martha Ford's going to run me over in that golf cart. Like, all right, guess what? Our pick this week. First of all,
Yeah.
we're in a tough spot. The Lions game is over. Steelers play tomorrow night, which I will not watch 1 minute of because it's a nighttime game, as everyone knows. At home against Miami, very cold weather in Pittsburgh too. The Dolphins were out playing at a local stadium outdoors. I saw the video of it. TJ Watt, by the way, did you hear about TJ Watt?
No, what's going on with them?
You didn't hear about this.
No.
They were doing like a dry needling therapy session and they punctured his lung. You
Oh,
didn't
I
hear
did hear.
this?
Yeah, I did hear that. I did hear that. Yes.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so he's probably done for the year. Like they're he's done for Monday. But why would you play? Like the team messed you up. Like I mean, could you imagine like this? I'd like to know who this
Just
person is.
something. Right.
Who's this person with a dry needle?
Yeah.
So the Steelers were out TJ Watt. They somehow came back. Aaron Rodgers pulled the discount double check last week in Baltimore. They are home against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are back into the playoff hunt. Mr. Mentor will be happy. Who do you got? Oh, well, we're not picking that game. We're picking
No.
next Sunday.
Well, you could pick.
Steel.
Go ahead and
No,
pick tomorrow's game. Go ahead.
I think the Steelers will win that game. I
I
think they're
agree.
home on Monday night. Even without TJ Watt, the edge is not their weak spot of defense. So I think they're going to be all right. The younger guys are actually pretty good. So what about you? You think they're going to beat Miami?
They'll beat Miami. Yes.
Okay. So that brings us then to next Sunday. Steelers come to Ford Field, must win game for the Lions. Absolute must win game for the Lions. Steelers could actually lose this game and still win the AFC North because they
Yeah.
go to Cleveland and then they're home against Baltimore. Now, granted, you want to win and you'd like to stay
Sure.
one game up on. Now, let me rephrase that. If they lose to Miami, that's a much different story. They're in trouble, but your interconference games are no big deal. Whereas with who would have thought when this game was on the schedule that the Steelers could be in first in the AFC North and the Lions would have been the outside looking in of the playoffs? Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Lions. The Lions are going to win that game. It's a must-win game, and I fear that Gibbs is going to run all over the Steelers. That's when the Ren Dog texted me. That's been my fear with this game all year. It's not as much the passing game because Joey Porter Jr. is actually playing good football. Ramsey as a safety has been a great change. Ever since that one Cincinnati game where they got embarrassed, they've really locked down their pass defense. So I think that Gibbs is going to just have a field day, and I think the Lions are going to beat them by 2 scores.
I would agree. Lions win by 2. That was exactly what I was going to say. Lions by 2 scores.
Yep. I will say this. I saw posted online the asking price for this ticket for pretty good seats. I'm not talking club level seats, but good seats. For 3 seats was $1,500.
Really?
And I I paid $550 to see the Steelers lose to the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. And now, granted, it was many years ago,
Sure.
but also many years ago when the Lions and Steelers were playing at Ford Field, I remember Dante Culpepper was the Lions quarterback in this game, and the Scopes and I wanted to go, and we got club level seats for $70 a pop. I still remember the days when Lions tickets were the cheapest thing in town.
I guess.
Boy,
Jeez.
I sort of want them to be bad again because I looked at the Giants Washington game today. That stadium was empty. It's nice when your team's not that good because tickets are dirt cheap. The
Just
NFL,
for that reason, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so. All right, well, it's the last week of school. Glad we got this episode in. When you guys are listening to this on Friday, we're sorry about last week that you missed it. We'll be enjoying holiday party on Friday, and we're going to the Pistons game Saturday night, the first ever.
Can't wait, man! Big game.
So if you're going to the Pistons game on Saturday the 19th, right? The 19th.
Well, no,
20th.
20th.
Saturday the 20th. The first ever Pass the Mic Pistons event. We're there with 10 other friends.
A whole bunch of people
us.
showing up for this, for sure. Yeah. What section? What section?
Oh, hold on. I can pull it up on my phone. Hold on. Bear with me. I should have been better prepared.
You're
no,
right.
no, it's right here. It's right here. Detroit Pistons. I got the app. By the way, yeah, we got we are going to be seated in. Oh man, where's my tickets? They're gone. No, I'm just
Yeah, I'm
kidding.
looking myself now too. I can't find it.
Did I get logged out? I feel like oh here we go. My Pistons tickets and Charlotte Hornets view tickets. We are in section 115.
Okay.
115 against the Charlotte Hornets, 7:30. So it is Saturday the 20th. First, it should be a good time. So if you're in the area, we'll be down there and enjoying Little Caesars Arena, not in the upper bowl, thankfully.
Should we make a prediction on that one?
Yes, I have the Pistons easily winning that game by
Correct. I would agree.
14.
Okay. Two
Good.
two touchdowns as well. Yep. I would
All
agree.
right. All right, everybody. Well, and we could probably do an episode the next week, right? Like while
Yeah,
we're off.
we absolutely for sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, hey, we will not wish anyone Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays at this time because we're going to be back. Thanks for joining us. One more episode after this, though, in 2025, and then we're set, right?
Yep. That's it.
All right, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next week.